The Devil You Know. I'm Rebecca Lieb.
I'm Jason Horton.
And this is Ghost Town.
In West Germany, 1976, there was the Exorcism of Anneliese Michel.
Ooh.
And we talked about the episode of the Greyhound Bus 1170 being the most disturbing episode.
It's going to give it a run for its money.
This one is the most disturbing one.
You're already calling it. We've gotten 3 sentences and you've just introduced it. That is a very confident allegation.
I had a lot of trouble with this one.
Whoa.
Not based on the information, because the information is just the information.
Mm-hmm.
It's the photos and the audio.
Oh, no. You're going to make me look at some shit. I know it.
It honestly was disturbing. Like, I stopped working on it, and then I started again because I kind of made myself upset.
Oh, my God. This is interesting because on the way to my apartment, Jason and I were discussing how I didn't sleep last night because I had just a ton of nightmares. So thank you. Here we go. Here we go again.
How about this? Pull up, do a search, and if you're listening, if you're hearing this, I say do this with caution. Maybe I'm just skittish.
Okay.
And maybe it's that, but I was actually pretty jarred from this. So
what am I
look
searching
up
here?
Anneliese Michel, which is Michel.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh God. What? Okay, so I'm gonna just describe to you what I'm seeing here. So there's this like cute young woman, and she's got like a little brunette bob, and then next to her is what I assume is her. It's her same face, and she's thin, like sullen, and she's got blood around her. Her mouth is open.
Look around her eyes,
gaunt,
and it's
and
red. There's some really keep looking at more pictures.
Oh God,
there's a lot.
Oh my God, it's like a. I mean, it reminds me of like concentration camp style humanity, where it's like sullen, like her teeth are all like bloodied, and and she's laying on this pillow, and she's got this dress that's a similar pattern as the pillow.
Do they have one of her mother like kind of having her in a headlock?
Oh,
there's that's there as well.
Jesus.
So I'm just warning everybody. It's in black and white.
Is this it?
Yeah.
It is. This is like.
It was so upsetting. I thought it was I thought it was like from like a movie because it was so.
Yeah, these people. If you showed me a picture of Anneliese Michel, her like school photo, and then you showed me the picture of this woman's body, if they weren't next to each other, I'd be like, that can't be the same person. They're not the same age. They're not anything alike. Like, yeah, this is pretty sad and pretty
this
spooky.
happened over a relatively short amount of time, and she was 23 when when she was 23.
Yeah, this woman could be like in her 50s. Like it's really disturbing. It's a lot here. There's a lot. You really hit me out the gate with some pretty heavy shit, Jason.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of warn people. And there's audio as well, and I am going to, at my discretion, add it. I don't know if I'm going to or not. Not because some people can.
This is the word. This is a very bad.
It's really bad.
There's some really, okay.
Yeah, so, and I wasn't expecting it, so the shock was... And there's audio, which is also very, very disturbing.
Boy.
At my discretion, I might add it, and then it's kind of up to you to listen or not listen. I mean, some people out there just have a stronger constitution for this stuff. I do not. I do not have a very strong constitution, and the story is also very sad, and it is also one of those that is very angering, especially at the end. I feel like sometimes I feel like we go a little bit soft with some of the stuff. Not that it's soft. I don't want to like. No. I don't want to. You don't want
to degrade the story. They're all in a dark, esoteric kind of space. But some of them are really also very personal. I think when you get the some of them we like veer away from kind of the graphic stuff, or we touch upon it and kind of move on to more broader themes. But sometimes we don't do that, and sometimes we're here. and we're about to buckle up.
Are you familiar with the movie The Exorcism of Emily Rose?
Yes.
So this is based on that.
Okay.
Which I did not see, but that's a very popular movie in the kind of current exorcism.
Yeah, the Exorcism vernacular. They talk about the captions of the photos that they were like Emily Rose, Anneliese Michel, whatever. Okay.
And I have a feeling the movie would not be as terrifying as probably what happened.
Of course not.
Anneliese Michel, there's going to be a lot of kind of, you almost kind of see this coming. It's a really great breeding ground for something like this. Mm-hmm. She grew up a very Catholic family.
All things good come from really staunch and strict, oppressive religious upbringings.
And I think, and again, not everyone who has a very religious upbringing has issues that are exactly like this.
No,
but
this is an outlier. But I just think, especially with Catholicism, all the mythology around it gets very like
it's intense.
Yeah, I mean that's like being nice to in a lot of ways. But again, great art, cool reliquaries, into it.
So we're in West Germany in the 1960s through the 1970s. So it's pretty modern-ish. I mean, I like to think it was like that was 25 years ago, but we're talking 50 years ago.
Yeah,
but still, when you're dealing with modern medicine, when it comes to the psychiatry, and understanding behavioral,
sure,
it's relatively recent, but obviously, even in the last 50 years, there's probably been a lot of advancements and stuff like that.
Definitely.
And we're also now in a time where The Exorcist came out, right?
Yeah.
We
have that on
The
our
Omen.
minds. Yeah.
It was a time where that stuff was huge. It was very powerful. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that, I'm not saying that it necessarily affected this, but when you add up a lot of these things, you're going to be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, well,
I see.
When we talk about these things being in the media, like stuff like the BBC hoax kind of a thing, like I think in the 60s, it's like, yeah, of course we know it's TV, it's a movie, but at the same time, there was less of an acceptance of the surreality, fake, the precipice of that medium, and people, I think, take it a lot. It's a little more ingrained in like, oh, this could happen, or this did happen, or it's a little bit closer than I think our perception of movies now.
Anneliese Michel grew up very Catholic, went to Mass twice a week. And when she was 16, she blacked out at school and walked around in a daze. She didn't remember what happened, but her friends and family said that she was like in a trance.
That happened to me too once, but I was on mushrooms.
Yeah, this is probably not.
That's not that story.
It's not that. I mean, no. I mean, yeah, I don't. And a year later, she had a similar thing happen, and she woke up in a trance and wet her bed.
Whoa.
And her body went through convulsions, and she was shaking uncontrollably. They took her to a neurologist, which is, I want to give credit.
Good step.
I want to give credit where it's not one of these stories where it was just like immediately.
Yeah, we got a bunch of priests in here. We tied her to a bed.
They seem to do due diligence initially, and they diagnosed her with temporal lobe epilepsy that causes seizures, loss of memory, hallucinations.
Okay. So that, it's like they get an explanation before it even begins.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Also, this is something I never heard of. So temporal lobe epilepsy can cause something which I never heard of called Geschwin syndrome, which is a disorder that causes hyper-religiosity. I don't know if that's the pronunciation.
In that person. So it makes them super religious, or they fixate on religion.
They get, it's a very kind of intense, like everything's a very non-rational, unrealistic, intense effect on religion. And it seemed like they were already in that. I'm sure, going to Mass twice a week, being very religious, that
it's already pretty ingrained in their family culture.
And that which I've never heard before is, probably is going to play into this.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Oh boy.
So she started taking medication for the epilepsy. She enrolled in school, the University of Würzburg in 1973. The drugs were not helpful.
Okay.
Because sometimes, I'm not an expert, but I in my experience, what I learn now is, there are more drugs. Mm-hmm. You do trials of the drugs.
Yeah, it's a process. It's a giant, long process to figure out what works well for you, because everybody is different.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's, with MRIs and advancements in science, you could probably figure out more. But sometimes it's like, well, we tried this one pill and it didn't work.
Yeah, it's like, well, fuck me. All right, I guess I'm insane now or something.
So the drugs weren't helping, and her condition started getting worse. I don't know if like getting older or it just triggers, like once the floodgates open, it just doesn't
it's
slow
interesting
down.
how some things get better once you get older. Like you kind of age out of some things and some things get worse. Again, everybody's different. Terrifying.
So she was taking her medication, but then she began to believe that she was possessed by a demon.
Oh boy.
And
The demon
that
was
she needed to
like-
find a solution outside of medicine. So she, I guess, initially
She's
was...
self-motivated. That's very interesting. This is already like a very different exorcism story than most I think we talk about, and certainly ones that I hear of.
She said that she would see the face of the devil. Mm-hmm. She heard demons whispering in her ear. Now, I mean, people hear voices. There's bipolar, schizophrenia. She heard demons telling her that she was damned and would rot in hell while she was praying, and she concluded the devil must be possessing her. She sought out priests, I'm sure, her family involved.
She must have been a great college dorm mate.
Yeah, I got to imagine she probably, had a pretty... It's not like she was like, I was just chilling and, like, I was like a kickback girl. It sounds like she probably, and as we find out from her family, there's probably,
A lot going on?
Probably a lot going on, and it sounds pretty devout.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which you can even, you take people that are very devout, and even if things aren't this bad, sometimes they take things that are happening and they put it through their... through their filter, and it comes out the way it comes out.
Yeah, totally.
So she reached out to, I'm sure they had access to a lot of priests going to mass twice a week, and they were like, we can't help you, and suggested medical help, which is great, which you find, we've talked about exorcism
This is
a lot.
so interesting. They're like, get help. And she's like, the devil is in these pills.
Yeah, I feel like the church has always kind of been represented as being like, hey, you want? It's like, oh, we need an exorcism. They're like, yeah, they don't have to do it. They're just kind of like, it's always like a special case. You need permission.
Yeah.
So they've always been reluctant.
Yeah.
Even
Except
represented
with
in
my
movies.
friend who got a weird exorcism when she was 14 years old.
Yeah.
That was just like willy-nilly. They had a coupon and like, here, go do it. But in Germany, 1960 is still very...
If you're going to save a few bucks, I mean, it's a little...
it's just sensible. It's just common sense.
Yeah, so they needed permission from a bishop or whatever they needed permission from.
Yeah, you need
anyway to
a
do
punch
that.
card.
So her delusion started getting worse.
Sure.
She would rip the clothes off her body. She performed up to 400 squats a day.
Whoa, she must have been ripped.
Crawled under a table and barked like a dog for 2 days. She ate spiders and coal. Bit the head off a dead bird.
It's so metal.
Hold on, this is good. Licked her own urine from the floor.
Oh, God.
So in that sense, I do have some kind of sympathy.
Sure, this person is clearly mentally ill.
For her and her family, because it's a very extreme thing.
Yeah, very extreme.
Again, I don't know, not in the room. You don't know what's feeding into what.
Yeah.
The place has got to be wall to wall with religious objects.
Yeah.
So it's a constant, like I would imagine that if just say pretend we were obsessed with like fame and celebrity, right? Getting more people to listen to the podcast and acceptance.
Let's just pretend.
Pretend.
Again, just humor us.
We're totally free from that.
We are here. We're just doing the good
pretend.
work of reading the internet for the people.
Maybe we would be obsessed with, I'm not tall enough? Am I not funny enough? And all those things would play into us. But when you're surrounded by religious objects and you've grown up that way and you've been kind of indoctrinated or whatever you want to call it, that is going to be the thing. So her mother was like, I'm going to get a priest. And again, I want to be fair. In her defense, at least according to the information, a lot of intense stuff has happened.
Sure.
I mean, there probably could have been a little more. I mean, I'm sure there's people if you brought it to enough doctors, they'd be like, yeah, we've seen a lot of people like this, and this is how we've treated them. Yeah. For better or for worse. I'm sure not the first person to have whatever this is. but they were probably like, let's go another route. They found a priest, Ernst Alt, who was like, yes, I believe this. And for whatever reason, either he truly believed it or he's like, I want to be part of this, or this is now my calling. I'm sure there's probably maybe 10 priests that were like, no, go to a doctor. And then Ernst Alt was like, let's do it.
Yeah.
And the priest, he said officially, legally, in court documents, she didn't look like an epileptic.
Oh.
That's his expert opinion.
Oh, cool. I looked her up and down, and she didn't seem to have that condition, so we went for it. So I destroyed her.
Anneliese wrote to Alt, I am nothing. Everything about me is vanity. What should I do? I have to improve. You pray for me. And also once told him, I want to suffer for other people, but this is so cruel. So Ernst Alt petitioned the local bishop, Joseph Stangl.
Oh, cool name.
Yeah. Not a great name.
Stangler.
Yeah, it's like a kind of very intense name.
Yeah, Mr. Stang.
He approved the request and granted a local priest, Arnold Renz, permission to perform an exorcism, but ordered that it be carried out in total secret.
Okay. They're like, we got a rep to protect. Yeah. We're the Catholic Church.
So, we know about exorcisms. We're all experts.
Yeah.
But as far as in the Catholic Church in the 1500s, priests would use the Latin phrase "Vade retro Satana," go back Satan, to expel demons from their mortal hosts. The practice of Catholic exorcism was codified in the Ritual Romanium, a book of Christian practices assembled in the 16th century. The 16th century.
Yeah.
16th.
Not current. Explicitly not current. Very archaic, probably not useful. Why are we doing this with this text?
In the 1960s, they were very rare among Catholics, but again, like we discussed, movies like The Exorcist caused a renewed interest in that. It's interesting how time has gone on. It's like, oh no, let's go down this road. This is a great road. So over the next 10 months, following the bishop's approval of the exorcism, Alt and Renz conducted 67 exorcisms, lasting up to 4 hours on Anneliese.
God, she was just like reduced to a puddle.
Through the sessions, she revealed she was possessed by 5 demons.
Oh my God.
Lucifer, Cain, Judas Iscariot, Adolf Hitler, and Nero.
Whoa. I didn't realize that human historical figures could be demons.
It's interesting that Hitler is brought up, especially, how Germans feel. I was in Germany. I was in Germany.
A world traveler on our hands.
Yeah,
I see.
But I did go to where, and this is allegedly, but there's a marker where Hitler's, I guess, grave is, which is interesting. That's a little side note. Someone was going to look into doing. I just don't know how much I want to talk about
Hitler.
Yeah, I just don't know how much.
Fun Hitler ep.
Yeah, but the imagery and the of Germany plus the religion. It's just very, very intense.
Yeah, again, it's like, what is going on here, really?
The spirits would kind of, they would kind of vie for power inside her body and would communicate, obviously, through her mouth with a low growl. And there's audio of that. And, we did the episode on the Enfield poltergeist, which, the girl was making very scary sounds.
Growling.
But she was just making that.
It doesn't feel hoaxy to you.
Not at all. No.
So do you believe in exorcism? What do you, should I ask you this after you're done with your spiel?
There's more spiel. You know what? How about this? How about we put down the holy water?
Just for a second. But I'm still thirsty.
You have to drink it. You know anything about holy water? Well, on that, we will take a little break.
A breaky.
Today's episode is sponsored by Podcorn. Now, not every podcast can automatically make $1 million like Ghost Town.
Yeah, millions.
Of course, we're grateful and happy to have so many supporters and be able to advertise all kinds of great things, but let's face it, it's hard to make money as a podcaster, but that's where Podcorn comes in. Podcorn is a marketplace connecting podcasters to podcast sponsorship opportunities such as host-read ads, interview segments, topical discussions, and more. Podcorn is laid out so clear, it's concise, because Said the workflow is great. You never give up any of the rights to your podcast, and Podcorn is here to support you every step along the way. That way you're protected and compensated for the work that you do for brands.
Podcorn has a ton of great advertisers, and we're super excited to help. Another perk, with Podcorn, there is no middleman. Podcasters of all sizes with as many quirky ukulele riffs in the intro can browse and choose opportunities right on the platform, set their own rates, and collaborate with brands directly without any exclusivities. Sweet, sweet freedom. The whole point is to give podcasters transparency, creative freedom, and full control of how and when we monetize. If only everything were like Podcorn, am I right? Click the link in Ghost Town's show notes to sign up to Podcorn and start browsing sponsorship opportunities immediately. That's podcorn.com/podcasters.
This was suggested by Chris's Trash, our friend Chris.
Yeah, he's all over the place. This guy's a helpful dude.
He's super helpful. Thank you. You know, I think he's just bored at work and he's just staring at these pictures, I guess. I don't know if he's not terrified or what he's doing.
He seems like he has a firm constitution, very grounded, doesn't feel very shakeable.
And he is a patron. And there's another
I hope he got his pin.
He did get his pin. He got his pin.
He did? He said
tweeted
that.
but he got his pin. I got it. Cool. No one else complained about not getting their pins, but
cool dude.
If you want to know what's the deal with these pins or another episode on exorcisms, it's at patreon.com/ghosttownpod.
That's right.
Bonus episodes. Like an episode like this might show up on there with no ads at all.
None to speak of.
Yeah, so and you get them in advance and you get them without ads.
Advance, without ads, maybe a pin. What else do you need?
Content?
No. Get out of here. I don't think so. We have a couple Instagram.
Yeah, we've got a lot of great suggestions lately.
Massages.
It's kind of hard to keep up.
Yeah, big BIGGSKY _ says Memorial Mound is bizarre if you haven't heard of it. LOL, this dude in the 70s was trying to revolutionize cheap burials. The coffins were suspended in air in some weird deadly body Carvana setup. That sounds amazing. Families could go, quote unquote, visit their relatives' graves via 1980s TV screens. LMAO. Well, the business went belly up, as you could imagine, because what the fuck? Well, come to find out there was a hell of bodies left in that bitch. That sounds exactly up our alley.
Exactly, yeah.
I feel invigorated by that message. I'm ready to rock and roll. We also have a message from Amanda.sal95. She seems lovely. She says, hi, y'all. I discovered Ghost Town Pod, and I've been doing my best to binge it whenever I can. That's right. That's your job. We own you. You are both so funny, and I feel like I'm listening to friends talk whenever I have it on. Ha. Friends that you just can't interact with. The topics you cover are really interesting, too, and I like that you have a variety of topics mixed with comedy. I'm currently starting episode 67, so I should be catching up soon. And not if we can help it.
Yeah, we're
going to keep popping them out.
2 a week, popping them out.
Yeah, no, we appreciate that. So happy that you enjoy it. Like that you like the comedy. Oftentimes, you know, people are like, no, less comedy, less Rebecca personal stuff, less Rebecca personal stuff.
Or we're doing
Cut
comedy. They're like,
that
you think that's comedy? And
yeah,
we're like,
like,
yeah, that's what we call it.
You're a joke.
Yeah.
Your lives are a joke, and they're not wrong.
No.
But I don't know.
I find the thing is that people are not wrong.
People are not
we
wrong.
are definitely ones that are wrong, but we just won't
won't stop. We don't take criticism at all. We don't take constructive or unconstructive criticism. I do want to plug one more thing, which I don't really talk about often. But the show that I've been working on, Brain Games, is on Nat Geo. It premieres January 20th.
Coming up.
So we're really coming up. Jason is featured in an episode.
You might see me doing some things.
He's a freaking star.
Yeah.
You know, dude is a star. I wrote some weird games.
Yeah, you wrote.
I'm in one of the extended episodes. My voice, that's not true. My voice is in it. So if you aren't sick of this shit, check out some Brain Games. It's a really fun show, and unlike this podcast, you can watch it with your kids.
Yeah, definitely not this episode. And if you want to rate and review on anywhere you listen, whether Apple Podcast or wherever you're listening,
I said Patreon.
Yeah, you could. We could use the some positive reviews.
That would be wonderful.
We take a hit, and
that would be wonderful.
We'd appreciate it.
Yeah, and if you don't feel positively, maybe hold off on the review. Tell us what you want,
or just lie to us.
Tell us what you want us to change, and we'll do whatever you ask of us. We'll do it.
Yeah,
we are not joking around.
So eventually, Anneliese Michel died, as you saw from the photos, and it was at 23. It was brutal.
There were photos of her alive at that time and then dead, and they look the same too. It's really, really sad.
Yeah, and she's very, very young, and there's a lot of audio and a lot of photos that, really, what I'm telling you is like, sure, I've heard this story before, but when you're seeing it, because it's so recent that it's not hard to find the information. It's also so recent, you would think there'd be more modern medicine involved. The demons were continually battling within her. The Hitler demon would say, people are stupid as pigs. They think it's all over after death. It goes on. And Judas saying that Hitler was nothing but a big mouth who had no real say in hell.
Wow. It's like we're getting the inner post-death scripts of historical figures. It's almost educational.
Through the sessions, Anneliese would frequently talk about dying to atone for the wayward youth of the day, the apostate priest of the modern church. Whatever that is.
Oh, man.
She broke the bones and ripped the tendons in her knees from continually kneeling in prayer.
Oh, God. That was, I mean, that to what it takes, that is awful.
Over the 10 months, Anneliese was restrained so the priest could actually do the exorcism rites. She slowly stopped eating and drinking, and she eventually died of malnutrition and dehydration on July 1st, 1976 at 23 years old. So I initially, because there's a lot of things, I've heard of other situations, I was looking into other similar exorcism, and they would try to starve out.
Yeah.
So this wasn't a case of, her getting refused food. She was refusing.
Yeah, and they do that. I mean, that's still actually a very medically viable way to deal with a lot of different diseases and cancers and things. So it's like, it's interesting. It was almost like her against science in a lot of. What about the picture of her mom in the headlock? Is there any or you just presume it's just subduing this?
Subduing.
Yeah.
And it was pretty compelling because it wasn't like I feel fine. My hair looks. I just had cut bangs and the devil made you have bangs. It was a pretty, and you get listen. They're people that are already religious. They're already susceptible. It's the 1970s. I mean, we don't even have satanic panic yet.
Yeah.
So we're not even at that point in like the early 80s when we have that. So
no, but this is also post-war Germany, which I think we haven't really touched on, to like this wounded country who was decimated too by these wars, like one after the other, like limping along. And so the idea of like feeling untethered and lost, like I bet depression was high. I bet mental illness was high. It was not a good time.
And maybe, religion was the, I don't know, there was
an
solace.
Answer. Yeah.
An answer, there was solace in it.
Yeah,
but with
comfort.
that, if you're tripling down on religion, you're paying the price in this situation, I suppose.
I mean, this is a sad, this doesn't make Catholicism look cool. This is a sad story of someone really leaning into an identity that killed them.
And probably, and I say probably, we don't know, for example, but there steps could have been, way more steps could have been taken. It was just initial steps, and there's a point where you're so far gone.
And also she clearly had mental illness, but like all of the people around her who sees someone becoming malnourished to the point of they're about to die and they still don't go to a hospital. Her own mother. I can't even imagine that. Like, even if you believe that they are possessed, you have to be like, but this person needs water. This person needs fluids. So like, let's take them to a hospital to do that. But nobody did that.
I don't know what you expect the outcome is going to be. Even let's just say it's successful. What do you think is going to be the? Yeah, the vessel is still.
Yeah, just a wounded human being.
So after her death, the story became a big sensation. It was a national sensation in Germany. Her parents and the two priests were charged with negligent homicide.
Good.
They came before the court and used a recording of the exorcism to try to justify their actions. So they were pretty...
But you've heard the recording. I have not yet.
I've heard the recording. Yes, I've heard some of the recordings.
So you think it's pretty compelling disturbing. I mean, not like you believe this, but it's pretty compelling.
It's compelling in the sense that, you know, they probably were like, we're out of our depths, and
Yeah,
you know,
and
we
it's
weren't
scary.
doing it. We weren't doing it. I don't think the intention was like, I just want to get rid of this girl. Let's just say it's an exorcism.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what it is, but you still have, you know, like a due diligence to care for somebody who needs the care. And then at that point, whether science, you know,
Yeah.
or nature or life kind of takes kind of control of what happens, but it's really not for you to intercede with that.
Yeah.
The 2 priests were found guilty of manslaughter,
Great.
resulting from negligence, and they were sentenced to, give me the amount of time that would be sufficient for you.
For manslaughter, which is not
Murder.
murder.
Yes.
Manslaughter, I would say, I mean, I bet they were maybe a year.
6 months. Hold on. Suspended for 3 years probation.
God. But no more exorcisms for those 3 years?
Only 3 a month. There was a limit. No, I don't know. What the parents were exempt from any punishment as they suffered enough. So they
okay.
like a time served, I suppose.
Which is bullshit.
I think that's a German. That's within German law.
It's such that's such a subjective valuation. It's like someone died.
So, years after the exorcism, German bishops retracted the claim that she was possessed and said that she was mentally ill. So they walked that back.
Wow.
I don't know if that's to save face or.
But wouldn't that be that would be not saving face? That would be rescinding what they so adamantly believed.
Right, yeah.
So that feels like even shittier. Where they didn't even later they were like, actually no. So she died in vain. So you actually knew what was going on and you didn't do anything?
A quote from her mother, "I know we did the right thing because I saw the sign of Christ in her hands.
Fuck off.
She was bearing stigmata, and that was a sign from God that we should exorcise the demons. She died to save other lost souls and atone for their sins."
What?
That's Anna Michel, her mother, in 2005. So she's like, I would do it again.
Changing the narrative to make her a martyr. She saw stigmata. You know what happens when you malnourish someone and they're praying so much and losing their minds? Like they get injured. It's not stigma. That's so, religion. This makes me very angry.
Yeah, I figured. I figured
You thought this was going to be one that's going to.
Well, it's, you know, I've talked about having the episode, the Greyhound 1170 episode, and we talked about how, like,
I feel angrier though for this because that one it's like nobody could really do any, like it just happened. You know, like it happened. This one it's like everyone was complicit in this. Like there's so many steps. Someone could have been like, whoa, let's take her to a hospital.
And maybe if it was
and then they rescinded. Then they were like, actually, it was mental illness. Fuck off.
Maybe it was 2 other priests that were like, hey, listen, this is not what we thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to like, and I'm sure if the priests were like, listen, in our expert opinion, we're the ones wearing a collar, and I know you see that.
That's right.
You kind of fall in line with what we say.
We're your authority figures.
We say we should take her to a hospital and kind of do both.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm sure the parents would be like, sure, whatever you say.
Yeah.
Or at least eventually kind of give into that.
I mean, you're watching your kid die. You're just watching her die over the course of 10
They don't
months.
think they're seeing their kid. They're like, that's not my kid.
Yeah,
that's
but like
Judas Iscariot, it's
sure,
Nero.
Sure, but like in the vessel of your child, like that doesn't. I mean, yes, suffering. So they don't have to go to jail. Great, but like, take her to get some fluids, like bandage those knees. I don't like what is going. Yeah. Oh, this is not a good one.
So this would be the point where I either decide or not decide to add the audio.
I think you should do it, and we're telling people right now if they don't want to listen to it, they don't have to listen to it. But I want to listen to it.
Okay.
And I want to listen now.
Der Rosenkranzmonat, weißt du ja, ne?
Ja,
Rosenkranz.
aber die wenigsten beten.
Die wenigste.
Ja. Und in der Kirche wird aber der wenigste gebeten, weil die Herrn Pfarrer ja das für unmodern halten.
Ja.
Ja,
Alle?
fast. Die sind ja so blöd, wenn sie eine Ahnung hätten.
Aber das ist für die Rosenkranz.
Warum?
Ja, warum?
Weil
Weil gibt's eine Bibel.
Weil er eine starke... Halt's Maul! Ja!
Weil er eine starke Waffe ist. Gegen Satan
Ja!
und alle Dämonen.
Ja, gegen uns! Ich muss es dir sagen.
Der Rosenkranz eine gewaltige Macht gegen
Ja!
Satan und alle Dämonen.
Aber das glauben nicht viele. Die halten es hier nur volles Weiberzeug. Zum Glück.
Wer ist da schuld daran?
Ja.
Ihr.
Ja.
Was kostbar ist der Rosenkranz? Kostbar. Rosenkranzmonat.
Der Ausklinge verstellen nach nichts. Dem ist das Geld so schade für.
Der kostet ja was.
Bei dem schon.
Ja.
Gut Zeit oder auch Geld
Ach so, die Arbeit.
Ja, die Arbeit geht natürlich vor. Aber die Drecksau, die Bäden, ja, das kann ihnen noch ihr Glück sein. Aber das Ding, das gäbe Sachen, wenn die Drecksau, das haben die ihnen eingepflanzt.
Du meinst die Heilige von der Norman.
Ja!
Wollt ihr das nicht haben? Oder in die Hände gibt?
Das haben wir sehr gerne.
Sehr gerne.
Sehr sogar.
Ja.
Ja! Oh, dafür ist traurig. Oh, dafür ist traurig. Und das müssen Sie der Drecksau aus Westbusch sagen, kapiert? Aber das ist vor allem ein Auftrag von dir doch. Was frisst du das nicht?
Noch mehr.
Halt dir Maul! Ja, die Kirschbänke müssen wieder neu! Scheißding.
Kirchenbank.
Ja.
Komm her.
Ja! Die Mitte. Das ist so geschickt.
Noch mehr.
Die müssen als Priester erkennbar sein. Und zweimal, kapiert? Ja, die.
Noch mehr.
Ja.
Noch mehr.
Heiraten dürfen sie auch nicht. Ein Auftrag von dir. Ja!
Noch mehr sagen.
Und in die kirchlichen Dienst dürfen sie auch nicht mehr eintreten, wenn sie das gemacht haben.
Warum nicht?
Darum. Und es muss gebetet werden. Warum?
Wo?
In den Kirchen. Und in den Familien. Und vor allem den Scheißen. Ja! Sonst da schon nichts mehr. Oder darfst der Gift drauf nehmen. Vergiss du der Sache wieder.
Noch mehr.
Nein! Ich bin Nero! Ich bin der Dritte im Bunde!
Noch mehr.
Gelogen wird's Buschkin.
Und dann?
Und dann? Dann muss er den Dreck bekannt geben.
Wie?
Wie? Das Wasser soll er schneiden.
Irgendwo? Priesterkonferenz.
Sozusagen Flüstere.
So, dass an die meisten Leute rankommt. Kapiert?
Noch mehr.
Als Maul.
Noch mehr.
Wie soll er am Maul halten?
Noch mehr sagen. Noch mehr sagen.
Die Schwester müsse in ihre Ordenskleidung gehen.
Noch mehr.
Nein.
Noch mehr. Noch mehr.
Der Papst muss Gehorsam geleistet.
Alles.
Die Pfarrer, die müssen wieder auf der Kanzel predigen, dass mich gibt. Und das Volk nicht entführen.
Dass es die Teufel gibt. Ne?
Ja! Das muss im Volk bewusst gemacht werden. Und die sollen
Des Sohnes und des Heiligen Geistes. Amen.
Die holländischen Bischöfe sind Ketzer. Heretiker. So? Nicht lang ziehen bald.
Nein, noch nicht.
Sieht alles aus wie Verfluchte.
Alles sagen.
Ah!
Im Namen Jesu und im Namen Maria
Sind
befehle
dem
ich
Papst
dir,
untreu, die Skalle
unreiner Geist, alles zu sagen und sagen, im Namen Jesu und im Namen Maria. Im Namen der Dreifaltigkeit, im Namen des Vaters, des Sohnes und des Heiligen Geistes. Amen. Du musst alles sagen, was du mir zu sagen hast. Im Namen des Vaters und des Sohnes und des Heiligen Geistes. Amen. Die Mutter Gottes wird dich dazu zwingen. Im Namen Jesu und im Namen Maria. Im Namen des Vaters und des Sohnes und des Heiligen Geistes. Amen. Im Namen des
Das die Abtreibung.
Sohnes und des Heiligen Geistes. Amen. Sage alles. Alles. Im Namen des Vaters und des Sohnes
Was ist?
und des Heiligen Geistes. Amen.
Und zwar, egal ab welchem Monat abgetrieben wird.
Vaters und des
So.
Sohnes und des Heiligen Geistes. Amen. Das wissen wir alle. Du hast noch nicht alles gesagt. Du musst jetzt alles sagen.
Und zwar, dass die Dinge, die Embryos, nicht zur Anschauung Gottes gelangen. So.
Sage die Wahrheit.
Ja!
Im Namen des Vaters und des
Weil sie nicht getauft sind.
Geistes. Amen. Wo kommen die Embryos hin, die nicht getauft sind? Nicht in die Hölle.
Nein,
Wohin?
ja, die kommen auf.
Ja, wohin?
Dann auf.
Wohin denn?
Ach, der Scheiß, was kann ich nicht sagen?
In den Himmel.
Ja,
Also doch.
ja, aber nicht so.
Vater, Vater der Lüge, sage die Wahrheit. Im Namen des Vaters und des Sohnes und des Heiligen Geistes. Amen.
Nicht zur Anschauung Gottes heißt.
Ja, ja,
Sind aber
das
glücklich.
glaubt doch niemand.
Wir können den nicht sehen.
Alter Maul!